going on, YouTube? Thanks for tuning back into another video. We're here in the garage. We're working on the Integra. I have a special package I'm about to open up. All right, so this, gosh, I almost dropped it. This is a pretty big box. We just picked this up. It was actually on eBay for about $2.98 shipped, or was it like $10 shipping? I don't know, it was about 300 bucks after taxes and shipping and whatnot. But it's a pretty big box. It's a little bit heavy. It's nothing crazy though. I'm able to pick it up. I'm gonna open it up here on my welding table real quick. And I know it's not the best, but I want you guys to be able to see it. .22 by 11.8 by 4.5. If that right there doesn't give it away, I don't know what will. We have ourselves a 22-inch intercooler core. Not a regular intercooler, but an intercooler core. This specific unit is manufactured by Vibrant Performance. Oh, I guess the logo was on the back too. And it is, like I mentioned, a core only, no end tanks. And hopefully the camera flips over so this isn't all backwards. But it says horsepower rating 900. That's for if you're using like a regular gas with different gas like E85 or C85 or whatever. This will be good for 1,000. People use this size for 1,000 all the time. So it's a 4.5-inch intercooler in the width, the core. The height is 11.8 inches, which is just under a foot. The core width is 22, which is just under 2 feet. So we're gonna go ahead and get this opened up. Just like before, box within a box. All right, here we go. Now this is quite the unit. And like I mentioned earlier, this isn't a regular intercooler. This is just the core. Like I said, it doesn't have the end tanks. If you haven't seen the inside of an intercooler before, it looks very similar to the front. Basically, you have air coming through this side and cool the air that's going through the fins. And on the inside, you'll have the open fins. Very simple setup. People use these all the time on a lot of horsepower, and then some people do water to air. On our car, we like doing things nice and simple. That's why we ended up just going with the air to air. And in this case, since we do have the Whitfield forward-facing manifold that sits right in the headlight, there's not many kits that are like that. He's actually the only one that produces that kit. So we wanted to get something custom made exactly for that turbo placement, as well as for the piping that we're going to be making. That being said, let's mock this up real quick onto the car itself and see where we're going to try to place it. I also have some sheets right here of some poster board that we're going to be cutting out, then retracing and buying a sheet according to how much I need to make the actual end tanks to our specifications and how it'll fit best onto the car. All right, so intercooler is sitting on there. This isn't a final placement. We're just kind of giving you a rough overlook of what it's going to look like. Sorry, I was loosening the turbo right there and had the little turbo mask on there if you guys saw from my Instagram. But it looks pretty good. The one thing that I am noticing, I want to do a nice back door right here. And until I actually get this made, I'm not going to be able to see how much room I have on this side. I think that's going to be the most important. For this, what I think I'm going to do, I just loosened these bolts because I think I'm going to rotate this downwards. It's gonna add a lot more clearance on here and be actually be able to get like a nice flowing end tank instead of a really crammed one. We'll still play with ideas and whatnot, like I mentioned, but if I do it like this, then I'll be able to go straight down and then into the end of the core a lot more comfortable. So we'll see. We're still playing with some ideas, but there we go. I want to listen to some music right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and use my camera. I'm recording it on my phone as we're talking right now. I'm gonna use my camera just to put it on time-lapse mode, and you guys can kind of see what I'm doing from a distance while I jam out as well. So if you don't mind, I'm gonna put you on time-lapse mode right now and show you the cuts in fast forward. Alrighty guys, let's put a pause on this stuff. I got one side of the intercooler and tank to kind of how I want it. Obviously this is just a rough measurement, but I was able to do a few measurements, like I cut off half of it right here. You can see 4.5 inch represents the thickness of the core. I'm doing 5.5 inch of actual spacing from the end of the core to the end of the tank. Why did I pick 5.5? So I have a 3.5 inch charge pipe. It's actually coming in tomorrow. I'm gonna be making all the charge piping for the car as well. 3.5, I'm gonna do an inch of space on each side of it. So let's use this to represent the piping. It's a 3.5 inch coupler. I'm just gonna use it as demonstration. So hopefully you guys can see it right here. Actually, let me bring the camera around a tad. Okay, I know it's kind of like at a higher angle right now, but I want to show you kind of what I'm talking about. So this is the back, or this is going to be the back of the actual end tank. It is 11.75 of an inch high, 5.5 inches wide, just like this, 5.5 inches wide. And this is kind of like a moon shape right here, just to give it a nice curvature. I actually got this idea from the Speed Factory intercoolers. They have a great design, and I was reading up a forum that they made years ago on fabricating end tanks, and it talks about smoothing out, especially once it gets past the intercooler, but smoothing out the air transition for a nice flow. So that's why I did the curve right there instead of a traditional boxed. I might do a boxed on this side just because it's coming straight out of the turbo. It doesn't matter as much. But back to what I was saying. I'm gonna do a 3.5 inch pipe or tube, and it's gonna come out right in the center, probably in the center. And I still wanna have about an inch, obviously the coupler is bigger than what it is, I'm talking about inner diameter. It's gonna have about an inch on each side after the actual piping. Now, the best flow, I guess you could say, would be directly in the center, 1 inch from this wall, 1 inch from this wall, whatever 11.75 minus 3.5 divided by 2 from the top and the bottom, basically right in the center. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do exactly that or if I'm going to do it like right up here, for example. That way I don't have to do that much of a crazy bend on the piping. I could even do it right down here if I really wanted to. Totally up to my preference. But I think I'm gonna do it right in the center just for the best flow possible. It's not really gonna do anything power-wise. If anything, if it does help at all, the only thing that it's really gonna do is just do less restriction and make the turbo work less, in turn being able to make more power with less boost type thing. It's really controversial. Some people say boost doesn't matter, it's not as important as NA flow, but it's totally up to you. That's what I'm deciding to do. As for all of this, these were just measurements that I did myself using some scissors, that cardboard that I showed you earlier, a Sharpie, and the actual tape measure. Now, I could do simple math. I'm not gonna say I'm an idiot, but there are people who are very smart, who have formulas, and I'm sure there's like a table out there or something that can actually calculate all these numbers without having to do what I'm doing. Basically, you'll get the 4.5 inch thickness, 5.5 inch, and you wanna do a certain angle, and they'll do some numbers and be able to do that for you, which is perfect. Whoever can do that, by all means do it. I'm not that smart in terms of equations and all that. We're just doing it like this, and it works. We get a nice little curvature right here of the front plate. It makes it look a lot better, a lot cleaner. The one difference that I did notice with my end tank right here, which I may be able to revise it, I haven't decided yet, and the Speed Factory one, actually lowers the end tank. Let me show you again. Let me get a little further. Basically, what I saw from theirs, if I'm not mistaken, this end tank actually comes down and this one comes up, basically ramming the air towards the center. That's perfect if you want to go at that route. I might, I'm not 100% decided yet. I think off the top of my head, if I end up going a little lower, then I'll have to also redo the top plate and do a different measurement on this. Instead of 5.5 inches, I'll probably do like 6.5 or something to make up for that extra length that will be needed. But just off the top of my head, I think this is a pretty good core. It's a Vibrant, I forgot what number it is, but it's the one that's 22 inches long, 11.8 high, and 4.5 thick. It's a nice core. We're definitely going to be happy to get some plates for this. I think I'm going to do 0.125 plate aluminum for it, for the end tanks. I believe that's an 1/8 inch, so that should be more than enough for strength. The welder that I have welds up to a 1/4 inch aluminum or steel, so that's going to be more than enough to get this welded up for us. And the biggest thing after this would be the piping. So this side is pretty much done. I'm going to play with some ideas for the other side right now, hopefully get like a rough idea of how I want it. But the biggest thing I wanted to do was actually to get this how I kind of envisioned it. This is kind of how I envisioned it. Slight modification off of the Speed Factory one, and actually put it in myself. Actually get this all cut out and whatnot. I'm pretty proud of myself for that, not to like toot my own horn or anything, but I love doing little stuff like this. I love picking up new skills and being able to learn along the way. So this is just going to stay as a template right now. That being said, I can play with the other side. The other side being the turbo side right there. Let me see if I can zoom in for you. Okay, right there. So like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I didn't want to have it directly in there just because of how it was going to bring the air. But I think if I were to, given that I can bring this a little bit that way now, since it's going to be in the center where it actually has the coupler, I think I might be able to spin this a little bit. And if I wanted to right there, I'm not sure if you can see the angle of it, but I could make this like a box, like a triangle right there. And then I think I do like a triangle, and then this right here, triangle down, and then just like a triangle right there. It'll look a little odd, but it should work. And then on this straight piece right there that I put, then I put like a small bead rolled pipe or a tube. That way I could just straight coupler to coupler right there. It'd be very simple. It'd be something, obviously this is a lot bigger than what I'll be using, but I think this is like 2.5 inch. So it'd be a 2.5 inch coupler straight to the actual end tank right there. I think it'd be more than enough, to be honest with you. Alright, so skip forward to the next day. I actually just got this in the mail. This is one of 2 parts. If you unwrap this, you will see that it is the 3.5 inch aluminum intercooler piping. It's just straight right now. We are going to be pie cutting this whole thing to actually make into like some nice piping. We could have just bought pre-bent stuff. Basically off the throttle body, I would basically need like a 45 degrees since it's already slightly curved because of the ultra manifold. Then after that, I would probably need like a 90 to go down, or maybe another 45 to the intercooler, and then just a straight piece in the center. Like I said, we could have just done that, but I like doing pie cuts, and it's extra work for me to practice, extra ways for me to get good at welding, or at least better than what I am. That being said, I have my bandsaw over here set up right behind me. You guys can see that over there. And we are gonna start by cutting these. If you guys aren't familiar with how to do pie cuts, and you're still learning just like myself, I did have a video not too long ago on how to do pie cuts. I did one with the bandsaw, and then about a year ago I also did one with just the angle grinder if you don't have a bandsaw. The bandsaw method works a lot better, but you can get away with the angle grinder if you want to do that. Up to you, or a chop saw as well. But we are going to start on this right now. Basically, if you look at the actual engine bay, let me give you a rough idea what I want to do. Okay, so right over there off the throttle body, I'm going to do some pie cuts towards the left. So this will come forward, then down. And I think I'm going to redo the end tank just because I want to do it more of the Speed Factory version, where the bottom, or the top actually merges down into the bottom, makes it more like a triangle right there, while still keeping that curve on the side. So we're probably going to end up doing that in a little bit. But for now, I just want to get this piping cut and mocked up. That being said, we are going to walk over here to the bandsaw. I'm going to set this up on a time lapse, since you guys already saw me do this before, and you can just see me zoom through this, pie cutting it, or angle cutting it, to be able to get that pie cut in the future. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the video. It's actually the next day after the second day, so it's the third day that I've been working on this. Little bits here and there, because obviously there's still other things that I am doing when I'm not in the garage. So using the time that I've had to kind of get like a little bit done right here. Tomorrow, Monday, I'm gonna go fill up the argon bottle. Unfortunately, they were closed yesterday, Saturday, today, Sunday, and I can actually get to welding tomorrow. I think I'm pretty much done with the intercooler design. Let me show you real quick. So I ended up changing this side to curve down, actually angle down. I tried doing the curved side with the angle down as well. It was a little more difficult, and I'm not really good at numbers, so it was kind of hard for me to cut it out. So I ended up just doing straight down, straight up, and then the same on the back and the front with just a little cover on the side. And then that's going to come out with the 3.5 somewhere around here. Just have it taped up, 3.5 just to kind of measure. I think I'm gonna do like a 45 up and then a 45 in to go to that, and then place the blow-off valve somewhere right there. For this side, I ended up measuring a couple different styles. This is pretty much what I like. It's about 15.25 inch by 4.5, the top 4.5. This is 15.25 folded, so that's one solid piece, and then a triangle piece to fit on both sides. Really simple. Off of it will be a 2.5 bead rolled tube, and that'll go with just one coupler straight to the turbo. This is also going to be bead rolled on the outside of it once we actually figure out which pipe we're going to be welding onto it. I think my camera's out of focus, but yeah, she's looking pretty good. See, that should be a little bit better. What do you guys think? This is starting to come together. Hopefully I'll get measurements of exactly how much plate I need, because I have a little bit of 1/8 inch, which is the same as 0.125 aluminum. I have a little bit left right there. Honestly, that would probably be enough for the turbo side if I wanted to just cut that out and plate it, but I'm not gonna have nearly enough to do the cold side, so I'm gonna need to actually get that done and ordered up. But I can at least do now with like the measurements and whatnot, I can finish the piping and kind of get it to how I want, at least the center section. And tomorrow we will be welding. We're gonna go pick up a bottle, or fill our bottle, excuse me, and get that done. There's still a few things I have to do, like bolt the flange of the turbo manifold all the way on so it's flush exactly how it will sit. I already did that onto the intake manifold, but just to have like everything, the perfect placement of what it's gonna be, even though it's not like the HD clamps or the V-band clamps or anything, the couplers will make up for any difference, but we still want to have it as close as possible. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'm going to end the video right here. What do you think about this design? I'm not a fabricator. I'm learning how to do all this stuff, and this is kind of like the conclusion of what I found, what I want to do, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. But yeah, let me know down in the comment section below. If you aren't already subscribed, make sure to hit the subscribe and notification bell. I'm going to try to upload a lot more often, especially since we're finishing the car, at least on the turbo kit side of things. And the next stuff after this is going to be all the fun stuff that you guys wait for once we're actually building the car. Like I said, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next video. Peace.